here with the Hula Bowl Executive Director, Rich Miano. And we're just gonna, have a chat with him, ask him a few questions about the Hula Bowl. And before we get into the Hula Bowl, we just want to talk a little bit about yourself. Um, I know you from the University of Hawaii. I played at the University of Hawaii from 99 to 03. And I was actually a part of Coach Miano's first recruiting class. I was Coach Jones's first recruiting class there. So I know Coach from back in the day. A great defensive coach for us. We had some awesome defensive teams back in the day. And, a lot of that is due to Coach Miano and just, giving us the goods. So, I kind of gave you a little bit there, but Coach, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, your playing history, your coaching history.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in a town called Brockton, Massachusetts, which to anyone that's a sports fan, especially a boxing fan, it's the home of Rocky Marciano and Marvin Hagler.
Wow.
And I actually brought Marvin Hagler to the University of Hawaii football team. I don't know if you were part of that, but
I remember that.
He was a guest of mine. And so we moved to Hawaii in 1978, and I started playing football for Kaiser High School in Hawaii Kai. We won a state championship. I then ended up walking on the University of Hawaii football team, where after 5 years, I got drafted in the 6th round by the New York Jets, and then played 11 years in the National Football League, 6 with New York, 4 with Philadelphia, and 1 with the Atlanta Falcons. And then subsequent to that, I started coaching at the University of Hawaii for 13 years, where I met a young football player named Kevin Jackson. Wow. In 1999. So, and then I've been, after that, I got involved in a lot of things, the Polynesian Bowl. We do all kinds of clinics. We have a nonprofit called Hawaii Speed and Quickness, where we teach, both genders, all age groups, how to become more coordinated, how to become faster, more agile, better athletes, better recreational athletes, and so we're throughout the school systems. We do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of media with high school football. I do the color analyst for the University of Hawaii football games, and became the executive director of the Hula Bowl approximately about 18 months ago. And here we are heading into our second Hula Bowl, which obviously Kevin Jackson's our director of football from Japan, and we're really proud to have the Japanese involved in the inaugural Hula Bowl, and then, of course, this second Hula Bowl.
Okay. Coach, that's kind of a good segue. Can you tell us a little bit about the Hula Bowl, about, the history, just the impact that Hula Bowl has had on college football, and just how much of a big deal the Hula Bowl is?
Yeah, so Kevin, this is going to be our 75th annual Hula Bowl. And, in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, it was the largest and most successful college all-star football game in America. And it literally had every Heisman Trophy, every Lombardi Trophy, every Outland Trophy winner, mostly every first-round draft pick, Super Bowl MVPs. And, you start talking about the names like Dan Marino and Deion Sanders and Drew Brees and Reggie White, and you can go on and on and on. And you talk about Heisman Trophy winners, Ricky Williams, Billy Sims. There's Jim Plunkett from different generations. And then you talk about the greatest players as well as the greatest coaches. When you talk about Ara Parsegian, you can talk about Bo Schembechler. You can talk about every single great college coach has once coached in the Hula Bowl. So it's a collection of the best players and best coaches in all of America. And what we did was we rebooted this game because it was kind of dormant for about 8 years. And now we're starting to get bigger and better, and we're super excited about the 2020 version.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about your role as the executive director at the Hula Bowl?
Yeah, so as an executive director, you're kind of the guy that is behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, a guy that makes sure his internal capacity, and when I say that, is like I have a director of football in Japan, that's you. We have a director of football in Australia, Paul Manera. We have production people. We have graphics people. We have people that work on the contractual stuff in terms of the marketing division. So there's a whole bunch of people obviously affiliated with this game. And then it gets real hectic, obviously, when you have to put on an event where you're flying in 100 athletes from different parts of the world. You have to house them, you have to feed them, you have to obviously have practices with them. You have professional coaches coming in, and you have like approximately 15 to 20 coaches per side. You have officials, you have, the ambulance, you have trainers, you have the stadium, Aloha Stadium. We use that venue, which is a iconic stadium here in the state of Hawaii. You have, the Hula Bowl halftime show. You have the pregame. You have the postgame. You have CBS Sports Network. You have a whole bunch of different sponsors that you're trying to appease, and it's quite an undertaking. But I think the thing I'm most proud of is the team that I'm affiliated with.
It's a lot of moving parts, Coach.
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, and the Hula Bowl is doing something interesting, especially these last two installations since the reboot. Now, the Hula Bowl is kind of like not pivoting, but it has like a international outreach arm as well, like you alluded to. With the players from Japan, the players from Australia. I think last time we had a couple Canadian players there as well. So, can you tell us a little bit about like the Hula Bowl and what they want to do internationally?
Yeah, so our feeling is football is trying and maybe past the gestation period of being throughout the world, and we know how big it is in Japan. It's obviously big in Australia and New Zealand with the Maoris and some of the Polynesian races there as well. And then of course Canada, they play, the Canadian Football League is second only to the National Football League in terms of professional organizations. So that it's played up in the Great North, so to speak, our neighbor to the north. And so we did have a couple of players from Canada, as you mentioned. We had some from Japan and we had some from Australia. We want to continue that. We want to, search throughout the United Kingdom. We want to make sure that we obviously include Samoa and possibly Fiji and Tonga and some of these other places that play football, because we feel that these players sometimes are logistically challenged in terms of getting opportunities. And I know the National Football League has always tried to expand their reach, whether it's television, whether it's sponsorship, whether they're getting players from certain areas. So, like basketball, like baseball, just continuing to try to make football an international game. And it's a difficult game to learn. It's a difficult game to be played, but I think it teaches a lot of life lessons. And I think it's important that this becomes eventually an international game and maybe even an Olympic sport in a decade or two.
Okay. Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, that's one of the big deals out here in Japan, is just continually, raising awareness about the game, trying to teach people about the game. Because like you said, it's not an easy sport to get into. It's not an easy sport to understand. But having something like the Hula Bowl and having Japanese players be able to come and participate in something like that is huge, because you have a lot of Japanese who tune in to things like that, especially when they have, their homegrown players actually going abroad and doing something. You have a lot of support behind stuff like that. So this is an amazing opportunity for the guys here, and for, it's huge for football in Japan. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, one last thing. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that, the Hula Bowl is authentic in terms of the culture. It's like no other bowl game in America in terms of, there's an NFLPA game, there's an East-West Shrine game, by the way, which has been canceled due to COVID. There's word that the NFLPA game could also be canceled. And then there's the Senior Bowl, which has done a phenomenal job of getting the top prospects in the country. But the one thing that's different about us is we teach a culture. We teach the ethnicity or the ethnic kind of beauty of the Polynesian kind of culture. And so we want to continue with that. And I think a large part of that, and we didn't get a chance to pull it off last year, is potentially having a Japanese hula halftime show, which I think would be phenomenal for the people of Japan to be able to come to Hawaii, watch football, perform in front of a national TV audience, and perform the hula, which is as popular in Japan as it is in Hawaii.
Yes, there are many halaus, like all throughout the country over here, and yeah, people love hula in Japan. Okay, Coach. All right, the last question here I have for you is, the Japanese players. I think we're gonna have a couple of Japanese players come over this time again, And what exactly are you looking for in the Japanese players? What kind of guys do you want to, be a part of the hula bowl?
Well, and that's obviously why you're the director of football, and you did such a great job last year with whether it's combines or clinics or, searching through the different leagues to try to get the best players from Japan. Ones that will have an opportunity, whether they make the National Football League or they get into a training camp, or they're part of the international roster that each team has. I think that's important, but it's also important to find quality players, because if they're inserted into this game and they're going against a guy that's 6'6", 330 pounds, and very athletic, very strong, very powerful, we want to make sure that they're not embarrassed and they can compete on this level. And we know how great sports are in Japan, and we know the pride of whether it's baseball, whether it's kickboxing, or ultimate fighting or jujitsu or whatever the sport the Japanese take up. They do a great job and they have a lot of pride. And we know that there's potential for these guys to play on this type of level, but we'd like to find the 2 or 3 best players in Japan and then see how they match up against some of the greatest players in America.
Okay. Awesome. We're all looking forward to, going over and being a part of Hula Bowl 2021. Lastly, any parting words for the fans here in Japan?
Yeah, I've been over there a bunch of times. I think you guys have one of the greatest host nations in terms of, your respect for different cultures and appreciation for different cultures. And your appreciation for football makes all of us who love this game so dearly, that understand the life lessons it teaches, and whether it's our youth or high school students or our college kids or even in our professional leagues, it's a teacher of life lessons. It's a great game. And the fact that the Japanese have excelled and have advanced their play in football is because I've been over there for many clinics. I've been over there for, college coaching things and camps and all those type of things. And every time you go, you leave and you go like, wow, if only the American kids would have such desire, passion, and really the ability to be coached. The coachability of those kids over there, right, I think is what makes them not only outstanding athletes, but outstanding people.
Okay. Well, we got to get you back over here, Coach, sometime soon. Hopefully once.
Would love to, man.
Yeah.
And my family's itching to come over there, and it's been a while since we've been, and hopefully this COVID thing wraps up and, we can do some things over in Japan, because I think I would love to spend some time with you and get to know it a lot better through someone who's obviously indulged into themselves into the culture and educated themselves about the great culture that the Japanese people have.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time today, Coach. We look forward to seeing you here pretty soon. And, we'll be in touch, giving you updates on what's going on with the Hula Bowl in Japan. So, just, thank you again for your time, and, have a good one.
Sayonara.
Perfect, Coach. Right.
I'm glad I got that right.
Yeah.
I got a few, words like choto,
Chotomate.
Chotomate kursai.
Yeah.
I haven't broke that out lately, bro.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, there's some good sayings. Oyasumi nasai.
Yes, that's good night.
Good night. Yeah.
Right.
So just the basic stuff, bro. Are you fluent?
I'm okay. I'm for the most part.
Can you read everything in the newspaper and stuff?
It depends on what it is. Like if it's something that I deal with on the day to day, if it's like football stuff or anything like that, yeah, no problem. But if you're asking me to break down like a financial profile of like some company or something like that, that's a bit different. That's probably a little too hard for me. But yeah.
Well, you have the 2 children, right?
2 kids. Yeah, two children.
Beautiful too.
Oh, thanks, man.
Congratulations, bro.
You do, Coach.
Are they gonna come to Hawaii with you this year, or?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, I can get everyone out there. Have the wife and the kids come out and hang out over there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you ever talk to Happy, bro, give him my love, and I miss that guy.
Okay, I will do, Coach.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Have a good one.
All right, KJ.
Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha.